Welcome to the Pickleball Guru's newest webinar. I'm Randy Manaply, and I'm here with the original traveling pickleball coach and author of the two best-selling books, Smart Pickleball and Drop Shot Till You Drop.
Hello, Guru Nation. Welcome.
And we liked having her so much last time. We're bringing her back. We're also joined by Jasper, Indiana's own Liz G., a former boot camp participant who's going to add to the mix today. Welcome, Liz.
Hey, happy to be here. Glad I could come back on meet with you guys.
Hey, Liz.
Hello, how are you, Frame?
Fantastic.
Awesome. You look great.
Thank you.
So this webinar is the 5 secrets to moving from a 3.0 to a 4.0 player. And just to let everyone know, most players are somewhere in the area of the 3.0 to the 3.5 level, and everyone wants to get better. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the boring one out of the way first, and that's drilling. Prem, how important is drilling?
Well, before I answer it, I probably would throw that ball to Liz G, an aspiring coach. How important it is to you as an aspiring coach, drilling?
It is ultimately important, and I have made it a priority in my life since your boot camp in January at Vero Beach, and have some other folks that have also geeked out on Smart Pickleball, and we are drilling about 2 to 3 days a week, and it's really not boring like you say. It's really, you can make it fun, and we have seen a huge improvement in our games. It's more important than actually just playing regularly. I love it. I love it, love it.
So how do you make it fun?
We look up different techniques. We try it. We compete though at a level of helping each other enhance our games. Like, so we turn some of our like dinking, we dink for how many times we can go back and forth, and then when we get past our last record, then we will like turn it into a point. So we keep points that way as well. So we're keeping the competition in it so that the competitiveness is there, but the repetition is happening. We love it.
And Prem, how much drilling should you be doing versus playing?
I would say a lot, 80% at least. A lot of drilling. I mean, in fact, a lot of high-end players of the professional players you see nowadays on the circuit, they will all concur that they spend more time drilling than they would spend time actually playing, and using even the opportunities during play time, like recreational play, to use, like Liz said, using opportunities to use those play times as your drill opportunities, like really focusing on actual play time and where you would want to drop the ball, where do you want to drive it, or when do you want to do the offensive lob, whatever the drill is, practices, or round the pole shot or an early. Depending on what level you are, drilling definitely becomes, no matter what, is important, and using every opportunity. This is not really about only being a competitive player. You can be a competitive player if you choose to, but even for players who just want to improve because they just want to be a better player than they are, and who have fun on the court rather than feeling that they're pulling everyone down, at least have that consistency. Drilling really builds consistency.
That's really helpful. Oh, sorry, Randy.
No, what I was going to say is not everyone has access to empty courts, so their schedules simply do not permit drilling. What do you do then? How do you incorporate drilling into a game?
Again, I'm going to throw this ball back to your list because you do have weather conditions for most part of the year where you don't have those courts available if it is outdoors, and then indoors is generally packed because a lot of people want to just play. So what do you do?
Truth. We look for bare walls in all sorts of places, and we set up chairs and put tape across the top of it in our garages, and we open up our barns and our pole barns for the same kind of setup and we're drawing lines with chalk and all sorts of stuff, just so we can incorporate even part of the game. We don't have to be playing full games, and we do a lot of skinnies, skinny singles where you may not have enough for a full court, but just at least one side so you can get the feel of how you would be playing the game, just so we can apply it when we actually do get to play on courts.
I think I'll just concur with what Liz said, Randy. It's more like, yeah, using opportunities like, I've seen you, in your basement set up uh, during COVID times when you would just set up your ball machines and practice hitting against the wall or using the ball machine to just being able to do a certain number of shots you could actually do. Um, and so it's the same thing you could do it indoors. I've seen friends of mine who would go, to a Home Depot wall, just the back of a store, and just line up a chalk line and then use that as a sort of like a net line to just practice volleys. So there's a lot of ways, volleys, dinks. There are a certain number of things you could do. And as Liz said, I've seen a lot of videos of people who would be sitting there with chairs and taped up and then just hitting across to just get the hand-eye coordination. So there's a lot of ways you can drill when you don't have that access.
This would also be your opportunity to tell everyone to purchase a Slam Master. Frame.
I'm just waiting for the boss behind you walking by.
Oh boy.
Walking by. Yeah, so there's also an opportunity for you to, like, there's a paddle with a ball which is called the Slam Master, which is very, very efficient. There's a lot of videos on nowadays on YouTube, which you could use as a prop to actually practice and drill. And there's quite a few things which Slam Master has done. And for more information, I'm sure Randy will share information on the Slam Master on this bottom of this webinar.
Now, Prem, go ahead and give us your top 3 drills that players should focus on.
Definitely the dink. One of them is the dink. You could really want to focus on really keeping your dinks unattackable, as my friend Dave Weinbach would say. So dink as much as you can. You could use the dink. You could probably tape it, about 3.5 feet from either side of the net and try to dink into it so that you make it unattackable. And you could also use the windshield wiper on the dink part, which is basically you start off from one side of the net and dink all the way through the other side of the net, either with a forehand all the way through and then the backhand all the way around. So, you just hit every backhand from moving on one side and then doing the opposite way. The drop shot is an efficient one. You really need to practice because drop shot is the most difficult shot to really, really master. So really get a good idea on the drop shots, because it's no matter how much you've trained, it can get awry in different conditions, especially when you're in a windy condition. You want to really try and use it with the wind or against the wind type of conditions. You want to try and practice those. And definitely the volleys also when you're at the net, because most of the game is won at the non-volley zone line. So you really want to practice every shot, which is very, very important at the non-volley line where you're trying to do volleys or the dinks or the drop shot. So those are my 3 wonderful options. You could use also the ball machine to feed you balls so that you can continue dinking if you're doing it by yourself.
Do you have anything to add to that, Liz? You had your hand raised up.
I was counting the numbers.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Making sure I got them all, because we do practice those the most, and we do a lot of volleys and we do a lot of cross court with the windshield wiper motion. We played in a tournament recently, and that was a big one. That was used a lot.
So if you're good about drilling, that will lead to number 2 on our list, consistency. What do you mean about consistency, Prem?
Here, the consistency is always about really creating a certain muscle memory in your motions, the way you hit balls, the way you bend your knees towards a ball, how you affect the cause and effect of it. What you hit is what you're going to cause. So it's basically you're going to try and find ways to control the point in the way you hit it, so that you start really getting, I would often say is like between a 3-0 player and a 4-0 player, there's not much of a difference in terms of a skill level per se. But what really differs, and I actually explained that in our ratings and goals guide, the difference really between a 3-0, 3-5, 4-0, 4-5, or even a 5-0 player, it's not really about skill level at that point. It's really one or two people might have a better skills, but generally overall the skill levels are the same. What really differs is the unforced errors, how you can reduce your unforced errors as much as possible. And consistency allows you to, by practicing and drilling and really being able to hit a shot 100 times, 200 times, or 300 times, depending on how much you want to hit, will allow you to get more and consistent, which will actually reduce the number of unforced errors. So that's a very important part about consistency. As I said, like maybe a 3-5 player would make 6 or 7 unforced errors in a game. A 4-0 player might make around about little less than that, and then a 4-5 just a little less than that. And by the time you're in the 5-0 and the pros, you're talking about very little unforced errors. There might be forced errors, but not for unforced errors. Errors which are actually emanated by you, but not by your opponent.
Right.
Nothing to add to that, Liz?
No, it makes perfect sense when we're watching the different levels in tournament play this past weekend, that there was very little difference in how they were playing. It was how many errors were made that you could see the extremes. Yeah, it makes total sense.
So building consistency is important, really important. And you build consistency by the number one point, which Randy said, is drilling to build consistency, so that you work on different scenarios of a game, so that you really are not making any more errors from your side, or at least reduce as much as you can.
And since I have started drilling, I do notice the difference in how my body responds to play. It's not as a thought process, it's just happening. So made a huge difference in my play in the past 4 months. Huge.
That's sweet, Liz.
I love it.
And I always mention that the indication of a 3.5 player is that he or she is at least attempting a drop shot. And I'm guessing a player that has a more consistent drop moves upwards more towards a 4-0 level.
That's an accurate statement. Yes, more
Okay.
and more you get consistent, and then definitely you're going to be a much more better player. You're going to actually execute better shots, because the game is won at the non-volley zone. So if someone is able to hit more consistently good drop shots into the non-volley zone line and bring themselves up to the non-volley zone line, then they're much more potent than they are at the baseline or in the midcourt or in no person's line.
Now, Liz, you attended one of Prame's boot camps. How was your consistency improved after participating in Prame's boot camp?
So after participating in the boot camp, like directly after, mostly because of the technique that Prame uses in breaking down our bad habits and then building us back up with good habits, my good habits weren't so consistent. So not so much, not very good. But that was by design, and I get that. But I've been drilling and practicing those, and that advice from Prame makes all the difference. So the drills are what are the bullseye in that equation.
And since we're on the go ahead, Prame.
I want to play a little devil's advocate on that particular question, Liz. So
Yeah.
If that advice is alone enough, then why would someone want to go to a class or a camp to learn it if they can just by themselves pick up and drill?
Because if they're not drilling for the correct technique, then it's all for naught. And I'm going to use myself as an example, because every time you asked us a question, I was sure I knew the answer. I was doing the concepts that you were teaching, but I was doing them the wrong way. So I was not maximizing my ability to play the game and be more efficient of a player by learning on my own. It took the concepts that you were teaching and how you were playing smart on the court that made the difference for me. Did that answer that?
Absolutely. I just wanted to, because
Yeah.
why sometimes, because there's a lot of materials out there and the YouTube videos and things like
Yep.
that when people are teaching, but there's a difference of why sometimes someone who understands coaching and who's able to coach in ways which would help and support would be very helpful. That's where I was going with.
It absolutely matters, and it also matters the numbers in the clinics or the boot camp, the number of people for instructor. And you and I talked about this a lot after the camp as well. And you keep your numbers so that it is a one-on-one experience. Everyone's getting what they need with a one-on-one experience with you, and that is super. It reaps the quality of what we're getting in our instruction.
And since we're on the subject of boot camps, what else did you get out of the boot camp breakthrough experience, Liz?
Oh, I am super inspired. I was inspired to take my level of just playing. I didn't see myself as like just a circuit player, just playing for competition. I love the game. I nerd out on learning what the new stuff is coming out for the next year. Like what serve are they keeping? What are they taking back? What rules did they adjust? Why did they do it? I really dig into all that. And I would love to see the whole world. Can we just say the whole world playing pickleball? Even if it is just at the level they want to be playing at, it doesn't matter. Everyone should be playing, and I want to teach it so that everyone can feel good about what they are doing on the pickleball court. I love it. I was inspired to get my teaching and coaching certification, and I am just elated, and I've found my niche in the pickleball world.
And Prem will be coming to Jasper in July. Tell everyone how cool Jasper is.
Jasper's cool. It's not very cool right now. It's very warm, but it is. They'll be here in July. We're so excited that Prane will be here, and there's a lot to do here. There are rolling hills in southern Indiana. If you're familiar with Indiana, the northern part's a little more flat. We got rolling hills and beautiful terrain down here. Beautiful state parks, wonderful German heritage here in Jasper, some great places to eat, a wonderful town square, Central Green. We've got a mill, a train depot, just a little bit of everything, a little bit of flavor for everybody. Great family place, and wonderful new pickleball courts, less than a year old. So we're happy to have anyone who would love to be here in Jasper in July.
Excellent. Now, moving on to number 3 on the agenda, the reset. Lots of players don't advance because they not only keep banging the ball, but also because they can't reset the point. Prem, why did you include the reset as one of the secrets to moving up in the pickleball levels?
Well, I think the part of the question is already in what you already suggested, because if you keep hitting balls harder and harder, it's coming back harder at you. Reset is a certain way of really controlling the point so that you can actually get a option. And I've used this analogy many times in my teaching, but also on the webinars and the podcasts. I often call, even if that big wild cat, when I talk about the crouching tiger, is out there about to eat its prey or about to attack its prey, it has to be very patient. It has to crouch its way down and wait for that opportunity to pounce on its prey. So it's the same way, you just get that one good opportunity or a couple of good opportunities to put that ball away. So you don't want to keep banging at that time. The reset allows you to sort of reassess, control the point, re-engage again in the game. Whereas when you're hitting it so hard, you're no more in control. You're just reacting to the ball. And I really don't suggest anyone to react to the ball. You really want to control the ball and then being able to put it away. So reset is a very important part of the game.
I agree.
And at boot camp, not only do you learn about resetting the point, but there's an entire session on it. Liz, what was your experience like on this session at boot camp?
Frustrating. One word, frustrating. I was not good at it. I did not understand it, and I wanted to not have that section. And now I would not change a thing about it. Like, that is necessary to be able to I was able to change the tempo, but I wasn't able to reset the ball with control. And now after drilling, I have that. I can't even say mastered, but I definitely have improved 300% in that area. And it's not frustrating. Now I know when I don't do it correctly, to keep working at it. Just you keep working till you get where you need to be, and just how you're wanting to place the ball so that your partner can finish that off. I mean, that's kind of like you're helping set each other up, and I really had to learn a lot about working together with my partner as well.
And to add to that part, Randy, as far as reset, like it definitely can be very frustrating. But again, when you're trying to drill or you're trying to practice some consistency, something which I often use for my personal game is when I go and play, I generally tend to go and play the recreational players setup where I know most of them are going to bang balls at me. I use those opportunity to just drill and just reset those balls, reset the balls. And I just want to, like, I would pick a place where I want to put the ball in the kitchen so that I can just control the point. And so there's nothing much frustrating about it at all. It's using those recreational time to actually practice, because I jokingly say, like, when you're playing recreational play, when you get bangers out there who are hitting you hard balls, they are free ball machines to me. I get free ball machines to play with. So, you know, if you can't afford to get yourself a ball machine, go ahead and play with recreational players, and you will have a lot of free ball machines to play with.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that at the last boot camp, that it was a free ball machine, which I like. That's pretty witty. And before we get to item number 4 on our list, let's put a quick spotlight on our upcoming international trips. Prem, talk about the upcoming trip to Costa Rica.
Well, I've been to Costa Rica a few number of times. I love that wonderful place. It's got really good pickleball community out there in this place called Tamarindo area, in the area of Tamarindo, but it's not actually, it's actually in a very precise place called Hacienda Pinea. There's dedicated pickleball courts. It's in a very woodsy area. There's wonderful resorts around. I mean, the Marriott is nearby. There's a clubhouse for the community which is out there. These are little micro pods or hamlets, which are communities of houses, like 5 or 6 houses in any given area. There are not a lot of them, but there are a few number of them inside, and which has access to the pickleball tennis courts out there. I have a wonderful assistant there named Silva. Was a wonderful instructor. He's very funny. He's French. Just like me, and so we really get along well together, and he has assisted with me a few number of times now, and there's a lot going inside the community itself, outside the pickleball. You know, the community of the villa will have its own pool, but the beaches are, golf carts are provided, so the beaches are just nearby. You just go down to the beaches. It's on the Pacific side of the island, so there's a lot of access to water. And Tamarindo is not far away from there. You know, you go out of the community and drive about 10 minutes, you're into Tamarindo, which is another beach town with a lot of restaurants and stores, and for shopping and everything else. And you get a lot of fresh food. The meals are all added to the participants. All the meals are included. Then also I don't think the lunch is included, because they just give free time so that people can choose whatever they want. But the breakfast and lunch, the dinners are included. There are a couple of tours even included in it, where they go to the rainforest and to this wonderful waterfall area, which, even though it's probably as blue as this shirt. I've never seen anything as blue as this, blue as waters like that. It's some sort of chemical creates that type of water color in that, and it's amazing. It's really an amazing place, and really wonderful people. Great pickleball. Instructions will be that the boot camp will be spread out, and then you also have a lot of free time in between where you want to explore stuff. We given a few options, and then there are other options also there. Again, it's only going to be about 12 people, because I do have an assistant there. who will be there. So we do have a few more spots left. So if you really want to join, do it.
Now we're up to number 4 on our list on how to become a 4-0 player, footwork. The other indication that I have of at least a 3.5 player is a transition game from the baseline to the kitchen. Prem, discuss that as well as other aspects of footwork to move your game to the next level.
I think it's a misnomer. Most of the time, what's happening, most of the times the players who are from the baseline and they're trying to get to the non-volley zone line or the party line, as I call it, oftentimes a lot of players just stay in the no person's land or the zone of transition, or and then basically try to hit balls from there rather than try to get to the non-volley zone line. There are a number of other players who just bolt to the non-volley zone line without even understanding how much gap they give between themselves and their partner. Footwork is a very important part of the transition game, and I think most of the 3-0 players getting into the 4-0 level is it's about at least understanding and start really working towards playing that what you call the zone of transition, or from making that zone of transition to a zone of as a land of opportunities instead of calling it a no person's land, making that as an opportunity to get there. The footwork is an important part to it, simply because every time you're making contact with the ball, you're set, you're ready, your legs are, you have a split step, you're ready to face the ball, and then you're trying to drop the ball back in so that you get to the non-volley zone line safely. So the split step is a part of the footwork. When you get different times, it could be the third ball, but if it is not the third ball, then it's the 5th or the 7th or the 9th or the 11th. No matter what it is, you work in tandem with your partner and move together to get to the non-volley zone line. And as you're thinking, if it's a cross-court dink, like Liz said, there's a lot of footwork which is involving of really covering the zones you need to cover to make sure. So the footwork is a very important thing. They call it happy feet in tennis. It's something which you really need to work on. If you get tangled with it, then a lot of things just go wrong with your technique in terms of execution. When your foot, sometimes like when you're hitting a ball, sometimes people do a cross foot, like in tennis, they would put their, let's say I'm a right-handed player, I'm putting my right foot across to try and take a backhand at the non-volley zone line. When you try and do that, generally what happens is it's what you call a close stance, because you're already facing that way, which means the ball which is going this way is pretty much out of your contention, because it's going past you before you can reset your stuff up. So there again, a question of footwork would be like moving more, with an open stance, so that you're not actually cross-stepping, but actually moving sideways. So there are a lot of things to talk about in footwork, but footwork is definitely very, very important to improve your game. From moving from the baseline through the zone of transition to the non-party line, as well as from the party line once you're there. When you want to dominate from there, the footwork becomes a very, very important part of your game.
And like consistency, there's a whole session at boot camp devoted to footwork, also known as dancing with your partner. And for you, Liz, was dancing with your partner session your favorite part of boot camp?
It wasn't my favorite part of
really?
boot camp. No, not my favorite.
You're in the minority.
Am I?
Yeah.
But once I mastered it, it is my favorite part of playing as with couples with a partner, because it makes or breaks how it's going to finish. I feel like once you get to the, like, working together to get to the party, once you're getting to the party and dancing, the synchronicity that you have, it's like magic. I love it. It's my favorite part of playing with a partner, but it was not my favorite part of the boot camp.
What was your favorite part of boot camp then?
Actually, from now that I'm getting my coaching and teaching certification, how a coach, in this case Prem, took the time and the energy and to break down every single participant's bad habits without them feeling like they stunk at pickleball. That's an art. I felt like that was an art, and I loved it.
The basic idea is really not to really criticize someone's bad
Yeah.
habits. It's to try and enhance them. I think this I generally tend to be very careful about words like wrong or right, because there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong or right in anyone. Uh, you are.
Yeah. It was
Um,
beautiful. It was beautifully done.
so that's the approach I always want to give to anyone, is like meeting them where they are and taking them to the journey without
Yeah.
making it about right or wrong. And I think most of the times we get stuck on, this is wrong and this is right. There's nothing wrong or nothing right. It's all perfect.
Yeah, it was great. It was great, and it allowed everyone to feel confident in where they are. Like no matter what level, no matter what their aspirations are, whether they were just wanted to stay recreational, they want to be competitive, or they want to coach or teach. It was just very well done.
And I believe we're up to our fifth secret, mental focus. Explain that, Prem. I expected it to be a good drop, but you're taking this an entirely different direction.
Mental focus. I think especially for competitive players, it can be also on the recreational play, but it is very, very important in the competitive play. Sometimes what happens is you're in a game setup or in a competitive game setup, like you have a big lead, and then there's focus which goes off, and people lose focus on the game and think like, okay, I have this one in my pocket. I'm not going to have to worry too much. I don't have to work too hard on it. And then they start losing focus, and then next thing you know is your opponents are at your throat, and then at that point you're trying to focus, but then it's all mangled, and all of a sudden the result is not the one you expected it to happen. I'm sure most of us have gone through this experience at one time or the other. I think it was last year or the year before. I think there was a tournament where there was one team which had a 10-1 lead, just needed 1 point to win, ended up losing 12-10 to the team, and who ended up actually winning the title. Um, so the question of mental focus is like, if you start relaxing in a competitive setup, a game, no matter how skilled you are, that doesn't work. It just goes off rails because you're no more there, and then you sort of chill out on it. It's not about wanting to be intense. There is a part of that. You want to be intense, but it's not about the intensity of like, I need to win type of thing. But you need to actually be focused on every point. And it is also very important from a focal point of view. Is like, you might hit a ball, they forced you to hit an unforced error on the other side, rather than reminiscing about what that mistake looked like. For example, you want to change that outlook and say, okay, this is now, right now, the ball I'm going to face. This is what you're going to face right now, because it's not about the ball you hit before, because that's gone. It's already in the ethers. And now you're back into the ball you're going to be facing. So that's part of the focus, is to really remain focused on what is happening right now, rather than looking at what has happened, because that you can't change. It's gone. Unless we have a time machine, I don't think that's going to happen. So rather than looking at that one, I would really want you to focus on that ball. I think that's the part of focus I'm looking at, and every ball is hitting every ball to its merit at any given time when you're playing it at that given time.
And just how do you increase or better your mental focus?
Well, my personal experience of that has been, meditation has been a very good practice for me to be able to focus mentally. Breathing techniques, which are very, very important. You see that happen a lot in tennis world, and other racket sport world, and even simply when someone is like, really, really stressed out, you will see someone just sighing. Basically, they're expelling whatever the tension, tightness they have in their chest, or anytime when you're stressed. So that's part of what you call the breathing exercise. And the breathing exercise, what I often suggest, is the nasal breathing, breathing from your nose in and out. Inhaling and expelling from your nose will actually give you a lot more relaxation, time because there's more oxygen stays in your body, which allows you to sort of have clarity in the way you focus and think process. So it's not an outstretch, it's not a new agey thing. It's definitely something which we as humans need. And sometimes you will see people just holding back their breath and their chest getting so tight, and which allows them to be completely, their thought process is totally mangled in their head. So that's one part of the techniques I have. Do you have any other techniques you know of, Randy, for you to focus on?
Oh, not me. I'm a big mental mess.
Thanks for the honesty.
Oh boy.
No, we're
I
better
find
off
when I'm
asking.
on, go ahead.
I was just going to say we're better off asking Liz that question.
So I do practice controlled breathing, but I do find that if I can find myself to bring out a little laughter, that helps me relax and brings me back to focus as well. That certainly helps me. But I do have what I'm calling gears now that I'm learning the teaching and coaching aspect of it. I have a recreation gear. I've got I don't have first, second, and third. I've got a recreation gear. I've got tournament gear, and I've got teaching and coaching gear. So I don't know how many more gears I can fit in, but they're all, I seem to be able to hone each one when I need them. So it's kind of cool.
That's an excellent way of looking at it, compartmentalizing each one.
Yeah.
And reaching into your toolkit to bring it out.
Yeah, it's worked for me. I think I'm building it because it's definitely, I just noticed the past couple of weeks, I just noticed that that's how I start to think. I start to change how I am looking at the game when I'm in each gear.
So
that's the way of putting it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's the 5 secrets to moving your game to the 4.0 level. Liz, is there anything you want to add?
Okay. Yeah, we're just very, very much looking forward to hosting Prame and Smart Pickleball here in Jasper for the first time. We love that we have been chosen to represent the Midwest, and we know July is a little warm, but it is the vacation month, and we are a great place to vacation in. We have new courts. They're ready for everyone from anywhere, and we are just excited to have this opportunity to share Smart Pickleball with everyone that is interested in improving their game or just not looking as basic as they have started out, because it really is a great learning experience. So I hope to see you here.
Thank you, Liz.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, Prane. Thanks, Liz. As we discussed, we've got a clinic and boot camp coming up in Jasper in July next month, a clinic and boot camp in Charlotte in August, and then in November it's Costa Rica, and in December Sandals, South Coast, and Jamaica. Links to all this is below. That's all I have. Thanks to Liz for joining us again. Anything else?
Nothing else. I think soon we'll be also adding Turks and Caicos to the mix for next year. So we'll get that information to you very quickly.
Great.
Okay,
That's
great.
awesome.
Liz, anything else
so
you'd like
much.
to add?
Not that I can think of now. I'll probably think of it as soon as we finish.
Okay, very good.
All I can say is go have fun on a pickleball court, guys, and remember, it's only pickleball.
It's only pickleball. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
It's been wonderful. I liked the coaching, I liked the people, I liked the one-on-one. I see the court in a different way now. It's been very good. I can tell you, I have done other boot camp, or not boot camps, but other pickleball things. What I like about this best is the small number. You know, the small number, because you get that more one-on-one attention. There's more interaction with him playing on the court with you and telling you where to be and how to see the strategy and the breakdown of the court. Don't get that in the larger ones. You know, I've been at boot camps where there have been You know, a lot of people, and yeah, they have a lot of different coaches, but they're floating around, and sometimes you're getting help and sometimes you're not. So this was very good.
So as I said before, as a fundamental part of my teaching is do everything and anything which buys you time. So if someone is hitting you a fast ball, you have little time to react to it. So that's one of the reasons why you dink, because you give yourself more time so that you're waiting for your opponent to make the mistake.
I would tell them to definitely do it. I think it will improve your game. You'll get a lot of individual attention, and I'd do it again.
I would highly recommend it.
I would say sign up because he makes it very easy, it's low-keyed, and there's no tension among the other people, no rivalry, it's all camaraderie.
Do it.
Yeah, absolutely do it. I would say do it. With the the one-on-one, the intimacy, it's very good. You really do learn things.
Coach-student ratio is terrific.
Yeah, well, and he teaches certain things until you get it. You know what I mean? Very good.
I would tell them to definitely do it. That I love the personal attention. There's only 8 players, and so you get a lot of one-on-one instruction and focus. So definitely sign up.
Well, today funny that I got stopped by 3 strangers for about 20 minutes. And I keep telling them I have to go to the bathroom, but they want to know about it, and they said they've been watching, and I told them that if they really enjoy pickleball and they want to be better, and I also expressed to them that I have joined other clinics, but this is the one clinic that I feel that I am going to improve and really going to step up to the next level, because it's more of a mind game. And that's what I take away from it. And I did recommend that they should read the book. And they said, yeah, we already took down the website from the banners on there. I said, absolutely. I said, read on the book on Amazon and then decide for yourself, because that's what my sister and I did. We read the book and we decided the camp would be good for us. Just wanted to say thank you. You guys go above and beyond to make sure that our every need, not just learning about pickleball, but also, our daily meals, the lunch, you pay to every little details. Whatever we need, you guys have it and ready. So we really appreciate that very much.
Just keep on keeping on because it's wonderful.